At most times I'm a reasonably excitable bloke. But then some things happen that get me even more excited. As the youth would say, they get me #much excited. See, most tournaments end up happening once every 4 years, right? Everything happens once every year. The Olympics, you have the FIFA World Cup, you have the 50 over World Cup. They happen. They happen every 4 years. But this tournament that's starting, it's made us wait way too long. It's happening after 5 years. That's right. At a time when an IPL comes to you every 6 months, this tournament's coming to you once every 5 years, which is why we are so excited. Hello and welcome to Cricbuzz Live. Before I introduce my guests, I just want to tell you about this Cricbuzz Live original production. I want to pull them up on screen, and in terms of the introduction, I just want to say, in a world of crazy printed shirts, he was a guy who wore black. I'm Gaurav Kapur, and with me, the dandy, the fancy, the fashionable, Dinesh Karthik, and Simon Doull. This summer. No, it's today. It's not this, it's today. Hey, DK, what's up, my bro?
What's up, GK? How are you?
That's quite a Marvel introduction, right? It's a Marvel cinematic.
Oh, yeah. I felt like I was in a video game for a few seconds there.
Yeah. And of course, coming in like a rocket, like Wolverine himself, is Simon Doull in a hotel, quarantined, bio-bubbled, somewhere in the UAE.
Nice. Still stuck in the same place, GK. Still stuck in the same place. Afternoon to you and to Dinesh as well. Yeah, nice to be back. Nice to be back with Cricbuzz Live, and looking forward to the World Cup ahead.
I like the shirt. I like it. You obviously knew that DK was coming, so you played your strongest soldier. Well done.
They will get plainer as the tournament goes on, but I just thought I had to lift my game. I mean, he was the star of the summer in the UK. I lagged behind a little bit, and I just needed to up my game a touch. So I thought, well, we'll give it a go first up.
Yeah, but DK, I know this is, you're coming on to Cricbuzz now. You're part of our family here, but you've gone a little sober today, my brother. What's going on? This is
for a start, the beauty that I don't have in facial features that both of you all have, I have to make up with my shirt. That's where it comes from now, please.
Hey, come on. You're a beautiful boy. And we've got a couple of beautiful games happening today in this beautiful tournament that starts, big ones on Saturday. The first game, you've got 4 big teams playing today, obviously. We've got a replay of a final that's happening in the evening today. I don't know if you remember, it happened a really long time ago. It was England and West Indies 5 years back. Just to jog your memory, Simon, this is the game with the famous Ian Bishop line, remember the name.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Carlos Brathwaite right at the back end. Ben Stokes couldn't defend 19 in the last over. It was a tournament that you thought up until that, that last sort of over, England were winning. England were destined to win that T20 World Cup. It wasn't to be. The line will live on forever, I think. It's one of those moments that as a commentator, you look forward to calling, whether it be a World Cup final, a World Test Championship, which I was fortunate enough to do, an IPL final when it's tense and tight. They're those moments, and that's one of those things that I think everybody, Ian Smith's the barest of margins, Ian Bishop's, remember the name. Those things will live on for forever and ever, and in 20, 30 years' time, we'll be talking about some of DK's lines, I'm sure, if he continues down his commentary path.
Yes, we will. He won't have to change his name to Ian, though, because it's an Ian thing, these memorable lines, but I'm sure we don't have to do that.
GK, I mean, in the World Test Championship final, Simon Doull called towards the end, and he had a great line as well. Nice guys don't always finish last. I mean, it's as good as it gets, that line.
Oh, yes, that's a good one as well. Okay, that just gave me goosebumps right now because that reminded me of that. But we aren't talking about Test cricket today. We aren't talking about one-day cricket today. We're talking about T20 cricket. DK, how excited are you about this World Cup? It's come after 5 long years, man. People have waited for this. And I know that now it's come like blue moons come quicker than this, but now they're going to come at you faster than new moons come, right? Because it's going to be happening again and again. But how excited are you about this showing up after 5 years?
Very, very excited for various reasons. For a start, I think this format is beautiful. It was very interesting to see Bangladesh and Sri Lanka out there playing the qualifiers in Oman and Abu Dhabi before they head here. They'll come with a lot of confidence, but then both these teams are in this group of death, and that is seriously a tough group to be part of. 5 solid matches each team is going to play. the team that is going to qualify from Group A have a great chance of getting to the finals just because of the quality of cricket they would have played over a period of time, reach the semi-finals. On saying that, Group B looks very comparatively easy, but the beauty
Let's pull up
is
the groups actually, so you can talk over them. Let's pull up the groups as well, so people can have a look while you're talking over them. Carry on, DK. Sorry.
no, the beauty about Group A is every game is going to be hard. The beauty about Group B, you can't falter there because even if you have one bad day, you don't have teams that can surprise opponents in many ways. So, you could get a few results that is predictable in Group 2. That's the, hard part there. If you do slip up one of the games, one of the good teams, then you'll find it very hard to play catch up. Whereas in Group A or Group 1, as it's put here, there is a great chance that, you can see some seesaw results, so to say. But overall, to answer your question, I'm extremely excited. I've been there in Abu Dhabi, UAE, the whole thing for about close to a month and a half. Great wickets, incredible cricket. And, I've just enjoyed playing cricket there.
Of course, we will be taking your insights on, the surfaces and the conditions, etc. But right now, I'm going to tell you in the first game that is being played between Australia and South Africa. That is, of course, Group 1. We just showed you that. So that's happening in Abu Dhabi. And Australia has won the toss and they have decided to bowl first. Dooley, this is kind of surprising because they haven't really covered themselves with glory chasing in the last few months, Australia.
No, they haven't. I think one thing you can look at, though, in the last sort of year and a half to 2 years even, a lot of these bilateral T20 tournaments or T20 internationals, they haven't had the best 11 playing. So you can read into these results what you like. Yeah, they're losses, lost by 12, lost by 2, 11, 18 and 10, when they had been in reasonably good positions. And that's what I will say, 57 off 74, 35 off 28, 39 off 35. You'd look at those games and you'd think, well, we should be winning them. But they're teams that have had sort of a lack of experience. Australia haven't really fielded their best side until they've arrived here in the UAE for their warm-up games. When you look back at the West Indies series, the Bangladesh series, they were probably 4, 5, 6 guys short of their best 11. Yeah. So I don't read too much into the form leading into the tournament for any of these countries because for the most part, in the last little while, you haven't seen the best sides play any of these bilateral competitions or bilateral games. So I think they're a very, very good side. And if if a couple of their key players can fire, there's certainly no reason why they couldn't go all the way.
Well, for their key players to fire, they first have to be in the 11. And Dooley has a good point. They haven't been in the 11 in a lot of those bilaterals because the tours were missing some key players. Well, not today. Let's have a look at their 11 and see who South Africa first and see who they have fielded. So let's have a look at them. They're going to be batting first, of course. You've got Bavuma, the captain. He's back. Quinny at the top, wicketkeeper opening batsman. Markram, who was in good form in Sri Lanka, which is the bilateral series that South Africa played before the IPL. Rassi van der Dussen, David Miller, Klaasen. There's Pretorius, Nokia, Keshav Maharaj, Tavresh Shamsi, who obviously has cleared his fitness test, had a bit of a groin scare, and Kagiso Rabada. So, Dooley, I'll just get you in on the bowling first and then DK in on the batting. So just have a look at the bowlers here because that's interesting with South Africa.
Yeah, Nokia Rabada, I mean, I think that's a given that they were going to play. Ngidi, without a lot of game time through the IPL, was probably always going to be on the back foot behind those guys who had a lot more game time. They're going with Keshav Maharaj, so they're picking their 2 spin options with Maharaj and Shamsi, both left-armers, but both do different things. Obviously, a wrist spinner and a finger spinner. And then the all-rounder in Pretorius. We did see Aiden Markram bowl a couple of overs in the IPL for the Punjab Kings. So, look, there's an opportunity to use him as a 6th bowler if they want to. Their batting will be the key. Quinton de Kock has to fire for me. If South Africa are going to go deep into the tournament, he has to fire. He has to get them underway. He has fallen away leading into ICC events in the last probably 4 or 5 years. His form has been good for the year leading up to them, and then about a month, 2 months out from the tournament, he's fallen away just about every time before a World Cup event. So to me, he needs to really kick on. He needs to show his wares if he's going to lead the South African batting lineup through to a position maybe late on in the tournament.
It is, I mean, he likes the ball coming onto the bat, DK. I mean, most modern batsmen do. That way, this surface perhaps more suited to Quinny coming in, having first look at it as a batter.
Absolutely. I'll start with the fact that it's not a bad toss to lose for South Africa, because I think batting first in Abu Dhabi in a day game is good. And I say that because we've played there. When I played for KKR, the wicket was flat. It's warm. You get some runs on the board. First game of the tournament, it's good. Two left-handed openers, both of them struggling for form in the last 45 days, so to say, but are very, very big cricketers for their own countries. Quinton de Kock for South Africa, David Warner for Australia. If they want to move forward in this tournament, both those players need to put their front foot forward and get them off to a good start. In many ways, I think other batters around them obviously have been in good form for both the teams. But for South Africa, Quinton de Kock is a very integral part of this team doing well in the World Cup, because Rassie van der Dussen at number 4 is very good. Markram batted brilliantly for Kings 11 Punjab Kings. So after that, they have a middle order which is slightly untested. You know, Miller has not played much cricket. Henrik Larsson again not played much cricket. So if you do take the names, you would get the feeling that Quinton de Kock needs to stand up for them.
Yeah, very integral, definitely. Yeah, Klaassen down below, because can have it's a big hits. Yes, we've seen him against India. That was a couple of years ago, but I haven't really seen much explosion from his bat after that. Maybe today is the day. On the other side, there is, of course, Australia. Let's have a look at the 11 that they are fielding today. Selection choices for them were plenty. This is what they've gone with. Finch, of course, the captain. Warner up top. Mitchell Marsh, who was a good form in West Indies when he was playing, came at 3, took the responsibility well. Glenn Maxwell then, who, of course, set the IPL on fire. Steve Smith, Marcus Stoinis. Will he bowl or won't he? That'll be interesting to see. Matthew Wade, their wicketkeeper. And then their bowling options, and that's interesting. There's Pat Cummins, Adam Zampa, Mitchell Starc, and Josh Hazelwood. So no Agar. They've decided to go with 3 quicks. Of course, Zampa being their only proper spinner, Dooley. And of course, they're going to get, bowling out of perhaps Stoinis, but more spin out of Maxwell.
Yeah, probably open the bowling as well, I would think. A good option to Quinton de Kock first up is the off spin. He has struggled with that, so you might see Maxwell with the new ball, which sounds a bit silly when you've got a Cummins and a Starc. But I would imagine that he might bowl one of the first 2 overs. They might let Starc loose first up, and then maybe have Maxwell bowl the second over, because de Kock has at times struggled up front with spin. I know New Zealand used to go at him whether it be Jeetan Patel or someone like that. So, that's certainly an option. If they wanted to get Agar into the 11, they kind of have to leave Stoinis out or leave Steve Smith out, and just maybe not have as deep a batting lineup. So it's a tough conundrum for them. But with Marsh and with Stoinis and with Maxwell being able to bowl, they've got 3 bowlers in their top 6. So they could, if they wanted to, leave another seamer out and play Agar if they want to go down that extra spin roll. But that's the side they've chosen today. Look, it's a strong-looking side. It just needs to find some form. Both those guys at the top. I know DK mentioned Warner, but Finch has been horribly out of form as well. And he's the skipper, so they need some runs from him.
Yeah, it's a great point you make about, playing Agar and their batting. Because if you play, let's say, in place of Steve Smith, you've still got Matthew Wade right now, and this lineup was coming at 7. Matthew Wade's a proper legit test batsman, DK. I mean, he can easily bat at 6, even 5, 4. He's opened in T20 cricket. He's opened for his Big Bash franchise. So, I mean, if Agar's good enough to bat at 7, even if he came in, like as Dooley's suggesting, if they did bring him in place of Smith, because Smith at 5, Delhi tried it. We've seen Delhi try it in the IPL. Smith at 5 kind of just gets a little lost, don't you think?
So I think it's a bit the new age batting order. I think, like you saw in the India match, when 2 quick wickets fell, Stephen Smith walks in at 4. The one thing that you would see from Australia is aggression right from the outset. So in case when they try and go hard, they get out, which can be the case. Like just Dooley said, Finch is out of form, Warner's out of form. It kind of is an insurance to have Steve Smith there. And he got a beautiful 50 the other day against India and showed his value. What he can bring to the Australian team. Maybe he can't bat at a 160, 170 strike rate like a Maxwell does, but he can definitely absorb pressure and find ways to get Australia to a safe position from which they can push after that, which is very important, I feel. And that's his role there. The Mitchell Marsh has done well in the previous series. So, the only thing is, I know ideally Australia would want Wade to bat at the order opening, which is where he's been really good over a period of time. He's batted for Hobart Hurricanes. When he did make a comeback to all three formats, it was on the basis of the runs he got. For T20, it was Hobart Hurricanes, and for the rest of the tournament, it was in the Australian domestic cricket, where he bats slightly higher up the order. But Wade is is a cheeky player. He plays all those sweeps, lap sweeps, and all of that. So it's an interesting player.
One thing we have seen, DK, sorry, Gaurav, I just say one thing we have seen throughout the last month, DK, is sides have kind of struggled a little bit in that 10 to 20 overs at times. So a lot of sides struggled to just really accelerate late in the piece. So I wonder whether the likes of a Smith in the middle order, if he changed his game a little bit and just played normal cricket rather than going searching, which is what his issue was with Delhi. I think he just went searching to play big shots that he doesn't have. It may be a rotation of strike roll as well, running between the wickets, that sort of thing, and just getting the Maxwells, the Stoynises back on strike and going at a 120 strike rate, because it's been really difficult to push on, big time in those back sort of 6, 7, 8 overs on some of these surfaces.
Absolutely. I think. Oh, sorry. Please, DK.
Go on, DK. Go on.
No, I do think it's a match situation, Dooley. What I say by that is, if they're playing in Sharjah, if slightly low scoring games where the score can be slightly around the 140, 150 mark, he can definitely do that. Keep rotating strike. It's okay to bat at 120. Whereas if he's playing in Abu Dhabi, there's a great chance the pass scores could be 180, 185. Then he needs to press the accelerator a little bit, especially if he's batting with somebody and he knows there's a Stoynis and a Wade in the shed. Then he should be going is the kind of feel he will be getting as a batter, and that puts pressure on you. Then you have to play the big shot. Then you have to play good enough to play those big shots and get away as well.
And we saw with Steve Smith I think it was in Abu Dhabi last year when he was opening for Rajasthan. I think it was like spinning. Was it there? There was one time where he was just searching in terms of, it looked like he was, had an axe in his hand and just blindfolded, didn't know where the tree was, right? I mean, he was just like swinging. And I'm such a fan of Steve Smith, the batter. Yeah, when you see that, you're destroyed and distraught watching that happen. And especially in a big ground, and you have Dubai is reasonably big, Abu Dhabi is reasonably big. A guy like him has all the talent to get twos. And even if you're getting twos, you can still bat at 150 strike rate, right? So you don't need to do that, which is what just seems very counterintuitive. But you may just see that. You may see that with him today in the Australia shirt. I want to talk to you, DK, about Pat Cummins. Where did you guys ideally like to use Pat Cummins, and where does he like bowling? Does he like bowling up front? Does he like bowling in the death, the middle overs? Where is Pat Cummins optimized?
I mean, look, as a player, he's happy to bowl anywhere. But as a captain, what we realized over a period of time is he is best with the new ball. He's best up to over between 7 and 15, very effective, maximum 1 over in the death, and ideally at the start of death. So either 17th or 18th over. Don't make him bowl the last couple of overs. I think he's really good with the new ball. What is his strength? His strength is the ability to bowl test match line and lengths better than anybody in the world. He can nick them off like other players do. He gets the ball to top a little bit, which is great as a fast bowler.
Yeah, I think it's a problem, right? Australia has a problem today, Dooley, because they've got a great bowling lineup, and then all T20 teams want to get a little cute and throw the off spinner in, for that innocuous 1 or 2 overs in the power play. So it's almost a bit like batting, where everyone's lining up to open, even with bowling. Like, you've got suddenly a traffic jam here. Not that everyone's excited to bowl in the power play, but you still have a traffic jam of options where the captain can throw the ball. So sometimes it can be missed because an over given wrong can change the game so easily here.
Yeah, it can. I think, I'd be tempted to start one with Stark, but I would be saving Mitchell Stark for, if he could bowl 3 at the death, 3 at the back end. I know it's not easy to bowl 3, and most captains and bowlers would say 2 at the most at the back end, but I'd give him 1 up front, even if they gave him 1 around the 12th, 11th, 12th, and then 2 at the death. I totally agree with DK. I don't think Pat Cummins is a genuine death bowler. So what Australia have to find is maybe 1 over. If it's Hazelwood to bowl the 19th and Stark does 18-20, then that's okay as well. Mitchell Marsh might get the job to bowl 1 over. He might have to bowl 16, something like that. But I would get Pat Cummins over and done with by the 14th, 15th over, because I think through the middle with those cutters that he bowls as well are outstanding, and give him 1 with a relatively new ball, possibly the 3rd over.
I have to say, DK is so cute. He's raising his hand like this is a new show. We're all friends here, bro. This is not a new show. Just speak.
There's
Speak when you want, my brother. Go for it.
There's a certain etiquette I realize when you speak calls
nothing.
like this. So
this is news. This is news channel etiquette. No, we don't want that over here. No, done.
No, what I do feel is absolutely what Dooley said. I one over to try and knock Temba Bauma over. That could be overs 1, 2, or 3, whichever they choose to do. Yeah. I will keep 1 over either for Rassie van der Dussen, who's been the batsman of the tournament so far with the practice matches that he's played, or I will wait for David Miller and knock him off. And both these batters, I'll bring Mitchell Starc within the first 5 balls that they face and give him an opportunity to go for the wicket. If you knock 2 of these guys out, you break the backbone of that middle order. Then obviously you can bowl him at 18 and 20, which is a given, but use that second over wisely. Target the best batsman early at his crease, give him a crack. Let it be a bouncer, let it be a yorker, let him go for that wicket. You get a wicket. The name of the game is get wickets, you win the match.
I want to bring Dooley, I want to bring your opinion in on, let's bring the groups again because we want to acquaint people with it. This is the first day we're in. So, it's the Super 12. So you've got 2 groups of 6, right? And the one on the left, Dooley, is so here's the thing. When you look at this intuitively, you say, oh, the one on the left is the harder one. But I sometimes think that the one on the right, where you think, this is a little easier, that's the one that gets you surprises, doesn't it?
Yeah, it can do. Look, the expectations are going to be that India will go through and who else. That's the expectation that I would think. New Zealand's biggest game comes in their first game. If you look at that, just at Group 2, they play Pakistan first up on the 26th. So that is going to be an enormous game for both those sides because the winner of that game could possibly be going through alongside India if India stick to the form that they've been playing with. I mean, we've watched Scotland, we've watched Afghanistan. You get Afghanistan on a slightly turning track, a pitch that's slowing up a little bit, very, very difficult to play. If they get a couple of their guys at the top of the order that get underway, not that easy. So they're not easy games. They just look slightly easy. But if you take your foot off the pedal one little bit against any of those sides, there's someone that will hurt you. And as we all know, in T20 cricket, just one player can take the game away from you if you let him or if he has a great day out. So it looks easier. I get that, but I look at the other group and I think, the West Indies have been horribly out of form. There's a couple of games in that group where if you were in England, you'd be certainly targeting. If you're a South Africa or an Australia, you'd certainly be targeting and looking at.
There's very interesting things happening in that group on the left. And 4 of those teams are playing today. Of course, South Africa and Australia playing the first game, and then England and West Indies playing the second game today. That's a real juicy encounter. Really looking forward to that at both these games actually today. And for Pakistan, it's very interesting because I think their course can pretty much be charted in these next 3 days because they play India and then they play New Zealand. So if you look at it from Pakistan's point of view, 25 26, and you're excused. God bless you. God bless you, my brother. But I just want to quickly bring your opinions in on, with both these teams that are playing South Africa and Australia. Of course, there's a lot been happening in the background with both these teams. So South Africa, of course, Cricket South Africa, social justice and nation building hearings that resumed on, October 18th. So there's all of that's happening, in the background with South Africa. There's all that noise. With Australia, of course, there's been, the whole Justin Langer and kind of grilled sandwiches kind of thing that's been happening. And now he's been told that, yeah, you're good, bro. You're good for the World Cup. You're good for the Ashes. These are 2 big things that are coming up. So, you're in charge. You're in control for that. But I want to get both of you in on this because I'm sure you both have been part of teams that, irrespective of the form you're showing on the field at the time, you could be winning, you could be losing, whatever it is. This noise in the background, how much does it affect what is happening? Because you only spend 3 hours on the field, right? And then you're spending 3 days off it. So it can leak into your psyche, can't it, DK?
100%. Let's be honest here. South Africa will be a different team if all these issues hadn't happened. How can you not have a team without Faf du Plessis, AB de Villiers, David Wiese, who's done so well over a period of time? I can keep naming cricketers who have moved on to other countries, playing cricket elsewhere. Their cricket, in many ways, as much as you would like to say no to it, has dropped a bit because of the kind of players who have moved away or decided not to play. South Africa would have been a force to reckon with if they had their full side. Today, they're a side that's fighting, that's showing fortitude, that's showing a lot of resilience. But are they the side that's strong? Are they the side that would be the case if all players would exist? I don't think so. This is not It's probably not even close to the kind of players that they would have if the whole set of players were available to play.
Simon?
Yeah, look, it's sad. It's a country that's in turmoil, and we've all. I'm not sure about you, GK, but I mean, I know DK and I have been there. It's the most amazing country, and if it wasn't going through what it was, I mean, it's stunning. It has got everything you could possibly want in a country in South Africa: the beauty, the beaches, the mountains, everything you could possibly want. And it's just a country that's in turmoil. It's terribly sad, and it's all sports as well, and it's the whole country. It starts right from the top. So if they weren't going through that, their team would look incredibly different. But from that point of view, it's also a win can change so many things inside a dressing room. And if you can convince that team to just not worry about what's going on the outside, that will look after itself. And at the end of the day, if we can win, that might change the mood. It might change the mood in and around the country. It might change some of the ideas around it. I go back to the Rugby World Cup in 1995 when Francois Pienaar and Nelson Mandela basically got together and they decided that they could change South Africa in some small way if they won that Rugby World Cup. They went ahead and did it, and for a little while, for a little period of time, it certainly did. It garnered, the whole country came together for that period of the World Cup, and they enjoyed success. So it's a funny thing how sport can sometimes bring people together.
If people want to know more about that story, Clint Eastwood made a film called Invictus, which is fabulous. And actually, I don't know, Dooley and DK, if you guys met him, but I had the privilege of meeting Francois Pienaar when the IPL happened in 2009 in South Africa. Just the nicest man you could just ever meet. You watch him and you think that even though that films glorify their heroes, and you look at that film and you still say after meeting him that, he's even better than what you have done cinematically, because that's just the goodness that reflects, in the man and what he does for social welfare after winning, that World Cup back in 95 and really changing South Africa a lot after Nelson Mandela came out of jail. All right, before we go into a deeper history lesson, because we are geeks, we like talking about geeky stuff, we have a bigger geek with us in spirit. He's here, Professor Bhattacharya, as I like to call him. He fires in his questions, sitting in his little evil dungeon somewhere in the north of India. And today, he has got this for us. I'm guessing since he's not here, it's going to be a question with a lot of words and small print. Oh, well, here goes. I got to do the paperwork. No, I got to get DK. DK, come on. You're the fresher. You have to do the paperwork now. You have to read this question. Go for it. I'm outsourcing it.
This cricketer got a Man of the Match award on his international T20 debut when a current wicketkeeper coach was his captain.
World Cup coach.
Oh, World Cup. I thought World Cup coach. That's right. World Cup coach was his captain. He got a duck in his last match playing for a different country. Name the cricketer.
It takes like 3 minutes to decode this question first, right? It's like, This guy was here when that happened, and this happened, and that guy was there, and this guy did that to that guy, and what day was it? Like, what do you even say? I think the answer is Tuesday. No? All right. Well, hashtag Cricbuzz Live on Twitter. If you know the answer, send it to us. DK, you see what he makes us go through? Do you see the length of that question? It's like, like half the match is over by the time you read it. And you know what happens? When the day he is here on the show, the question is like 2 lines and 12 words. That's joy. That's joy, man. That's what he does. All right. That's all we have time for. We have South Africa, of course, batting first. We have last piece of business, which is more important than any trophy or any World Cup can be in any country, which is the guessing game that the three of us will be playing. The game happening in Abu Dhabi. South Africa batting first. Get your predictions in, gentlemen. Get your predictions in now. DK, we can get you to go first.
I'm going to go for 172.
172. Good call. Good call. Safe call. Good call. Dooley, lower, higher?
6 off 3 balls so far. So I'll go.
That's insider trading, bro.
163.
You got the Securities Commission onto him. Come on. All right, I'm going with 182 then. What happened? 182.
Another 4.
Oh, it's
10
going
off
to
the
be.
first 4 balls.
There you go. We've got our 60s, 70s, and 80s covered. So there we go. Those are our guesses. If you want to give us yours, get them in. If you get a spot-on guess, then we will give you a shout-out. We will take your name and send you flying kisses. Whether if you don't want them, you can send them back. That's fine. That's all we have time for you on Cricbuzz Live. I'd like to thank Dinesh Karthik and Simon Doull for joining me. We will see you at the end of the 10th over on Cricbuzz Combox. We will, right? We will? No? Yeah. Do we?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. We'll be here. I'm Gaurav Kapur. Thanks for watching.